Hey, Terry, give us your take on first of all, how you think this changes the equation for investors when it comes to either probable outcomes in November or just the policy issues that are in play.
Well, good to see you, Mike. And a couple of things. One is I expect Harris to be immediately competitive, and my instinct is probably more than that. Biden was much closer in a lot of polls than Democrats who were talking him down wanted to admit. Now they're switching around immediately to, hey, we're competitive and maybe more. But there is a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of money pouring in. People want energy in the campaign. They want energy in the executive. They weren't getting that with Biden. Second thing. The assumption is that Trump somehow has wrapped up the Republican Party and they're all united. I think that's still not true. You've still got some Republicans who'd rather not have him, think of him as the Haley wing. Plus, he's still underwater with independents. And I think Harris probably changes that, particularly with her focus on social issues, which are going to get hammered again and again and again, and a really good ground game inherited from the Biden campaign. So what I would look for if I'm an investor is push back on a lot of this stuff. What's out there today is very knowable. You know what Harris is. Harris is Biden 2, the sequel, by and large, with a little sharper edge. Trump is who he is, and people are already trading on that. But really, the makeup of Congress matters the most. And your previous segment, there was a lot of talk about 2016. That wasn't a Trump reaction. That was a Trump plus all Republican Washington that made tax reform in 2017 possible. Today, we've got a different situation where the Congress is very much likely to be politically split. And for that reason, you're going to see a lot more status quo in Washington than kind of bold action on either side, I think.
Well, and Terry, when it comes then to tax policy, status quo, does that mean that the Trump tax cuts expire because that's what's already sort of law at this point?
It does, yeah. Because if you're going to have, politically, my analysis, but political people's analysis, is that there's a split Congress. Next year there will be a barely Republican majority Senate, barely Democratic majority House. That split, in a world where Democrats are already calling 2025 tax Armageddon, means that there's not going to be the likely scenario. The base case is that there's not going to be extension of the 2017 tax reform. Only if you get an all Republican sweep, which I think is less likely today than it was yesterday, will you have that.
Gotcha. And in terms of the other issues there, I mean, as we watch the market trade, there's a sort of instinct that there's a certain playbook if you actually believe in red sweep, another playbook if you think that's highly unlikely, but also just the idea of a tighter race that leaves markets in suspense and it gets something closer to the near coin toss we thought it might be several months ago is something that could hold markets in check.
Yeah, before you're absolutely right. Before the Biden-Trump debate, this race was going to be very, very tight. And even after the Biden debate, it remained fairly tight. And I think that Harris is in a position to be able to make up ground. So what you're looking at is a real photo finish, both in terms of the presidency, but as I say, very importantly, in terms of the Congress. Right now, you get a situation where the House probably swings on Republican seats that were picked up in 2022 in New York and New Jersey that Democrats were already targeting to get back. And in the Senate, Republicans are all but assured of a majority after Jim Justice was nominated in West Virginia. They only need basically one other pickup in order to have a majority there, net on net. So all this is quite more knowable than I think a lot of markets people understand.